Peace, everyone. I hope you are very well, wherever you may be. Welcome back to another video. We are exploring boundless potential and reviewing and further elaborating on the manuscripts, Peaks and Valleys, and Synchronous Universe, both of which were recently published in November 2024 and March of 2025. So this is fresh off the printing press from me to you, and I do hope that you get a thorough bandwidth and understanding of what this material is conveying. I feel obligated to share this with you and elaborate further in the material because I really pressed this context into a short, compactified, but powerful workbook. So with that being said, we're exploring this together, and I have a free course here that we go through and navigate each page by page. I also have an audiobook. It's a rough audiobook. Go to video 22 in this playlist. We'll see the audiobook. So Peaks and Valleys we have thoroughly covered. If you do have any questions or comments, concerns regarding Peaks and Valleys, or maybe you're new here, reach out to me directly. Also, go back in the previous videos of this playlist and check out the previous videos because we go in depth in exploration of Peaks and Valleys. So check that out. Again, reach out to me if you would like a copy and you don't use Amazon, or if you would like to just contact me directly, that's perfectly fine. Synchronous Universe is not necessarily, it doesn't have to be read after Peaks and Valleys, but I did write Peaks and Valleys as a prerequisite to anything to follow. The first being Synchronous Universe. So if you have been around for a while in the channel now, which is still pretty much at its beginning stages, I've started uploading, I think it was in November last year. When I first published, or just before I published Peaks and Valleys, I was putting up a playlist for quitting cigarettes or vapes or e-cigs. So also, if you're trying to quit that, or you've been considering it, you're having a rough time, check that playlist out, or contact me, or do both. Contact me directly. I have not touched any of, I was using cigarettes, not vapes or e-cigs, but the playlist is designed for anybody that's considering or having trouble quitting any of those. So again, similar to this playlist, we're working on a reprogramming of our energy patterns, our thought patterns, which precede our actions, right? So we're focused in on a reprogramming of the subconscious mind, which is the underlying storehouse of all impressions that have been collected in your life experience. Also housed within is a storehouse from centuries of our unraveling of our soul, our DNA, our coding as a collective too. So all this is available within you, and you have unlimited potential to tap in, as you are the reservoir of the divine technology. Now, this is where your responsibility comes in, and why I get on here and say that this isn't a game, and this isn't a matter of arguing about free will and free choice, flat Earth and round Earth. Don't give a shit about any of that. What you have to do is have an ability to respond within at all times. So you have an instantaneous connection to your truth that's unraveling constantly. Okay? There's nothing concretized about what I'm saying here. It's a fluidity, just like the universe is in a constant fluidity. So the more that you're holding on to stuff that you shouldn't be, you're contaminating and polluting the fluidity of the waters, the rivers, the blood, the water that flows through your brain. Is 90% water. The clarity is vital to your thought, the essence in your thought and in your spirit. So the responsibility is far more than just the word itself, and that's why I have explained it as simply the ability to respond, this is a perpetual effort. This isn't something that you choose once a week to do. Another thing that I'm going to mention before I get into the manuscript today is maybe this comes off on a serious tone or intense or whatever. I don't try to be too intense, so just bear with me. This to me, I care about enough for people to really go inside and work with their inner selves to unlock and unravel that perpetuating self-contemplation inside of their life spirit. Because modern day has distracted humanity so much for whatever you can have your own perspective, as it seems like we get to have here in this experience. This is my perception based off of the unraveling and my observations. So please share your insights, please share your comments and concerns. I'm pretty sure most people are aware of some of this right now, but maybe not all of it. So in due time, we are responsible for not just awakening ourselves individually, but also reminding each other collectively. Okay, so this is what we are here for. And I've seen it doesn't matter what category you're in. These topics fall into encompass a spiritual nature of being. This is of everything that is, all consciousness, all things that exist here. Spirituality encompasses, which cannot be said for intellectuality and obviously the material plane, which is the far worst place to be stuck in. So breaking all these old belief systems and thought processes of what you thought was, and letting these outer external belief systems control your frequency of thought on a day-to-day basis is what we are constantly breaking through. So yes, it does require some effort, like a level of intensity that provides a spearhead of concentration so that you can break through the portals of your own thought frequency, of your own contaminations and own pollutions and dilutions that have been programmed into the nature of who we are. And everybody here has something to work on. Everybody. So focusing on awareness is how we're going to move into synchronous universe, an inner awareness, gathering a deep sensibility, a community, a convening of all of the divine technologies and faculties that are surging through your being now. That's what we're going to be focusing on moving forward. Peaks and valleys is the prerequisite for that. I have gathered from many different sources. You name somebody, and I've probably skimmed the sort. I've skimmed, and I'm sure I've missed a lot. Okay. What I'm noting is the synchronicities in everything. I don't just pick out my bias and apply that to my research. I'm a neutral-minded researcher, and I'm just like that naturally. So I have an ability to not be persuaded when I reach it. Don't get me wrong. Some things, if I'm not in full agency at any given moment, these external influences or internal influences can take hold of my agency and start to possess the frequency of my thought. That is, dilute my concentration. This is the attunement that the individual needs to their soul. So we're talking about developing metaphysical integrations and practical methods of application both in our etheric fields and in this material or this physical construct. But all that's in the physical construct comes formatively from the etheric fields, the subtle anatomy, the subtle field, the subtle bodies. These bodies are intelligent, just as every cell in your body, every single cell in your body has a vibrationary resonance of a frequency to it. And that which holds sympathetic coherence and sympathetic resonance to that vibration will attract to or magnetize it to one another. Meaning, some of the universal laws of correspondence and reciprocity, or law of harmonious attraction, that might be a more commonly known. But all of them interplaying, interweaving, congealing forces, communicating with one another intelligently. Your mind state is at a point of agency through willpower to influence the vibrationary resonance of each and every one of your cells. And of course, also your thoughts. So your frequency of thought, all of this interplaying, interweaving one another, congealing forces to create this moment, to create here now, to create well-being, or to create dis-ease, depending on if the individual is in a state of disharmony or imbalance. So being able to creatively, why does this all, why, you might ask, do I say, am I speaking? Because all of this is our responsibility to uniquely, creatively express our individuality. That is our truth. You don't have to step on people's toes or curse people or hate another people. You don't have to judge, in the regard that I'm speaking, another man, for this. This is a state of gratitude and understanding that this experience is the chaos that you embrace, as the nature in your being is chaos. That all these things that I just mentioned, that's a lot of different things, and that's not even 1% of the divinities that are flowing through your life spirit, flowing through your spirit. So in a state of well-being and balance and harmony is where our most efficient efforts and actions are going to be unraveled in their strongest potentiality, in their utmost potentiality. This is what the distractions want people to be conformed or dumbed down to. I'm not calling people dumb. I mean, I'm trying to give you the material. I'm not trying to get you to look at certain groups of people, because honestly, if you study some of the older teachers, the distractions are inversions. So you are seeing what they want you to see. That is the Hollywood black magic trajectory of any given mainstream material. There's a embedded code, strategic code to, magically, however you would like to assert what's happening or understand what's happening, embed in your subconscious to program you into fears, into, what's going to happen next via predictive programming. If enough people believe in the same thing, if I were to say, hey, the sky is green, and I was able to convince people that the sky was green, and if I was convincingly so. And hey, if I was talking to a group of blind people, it might be pretty easy, right? Right? If I'm talking, hopefully that you're catching my drift here. So if the blind are leading the blind now, isn't that exactly what the original intention of the strategy of the distraction would be? To get the blind to lead the blind? All right. Hopefully I've got the juices flowing a little bit, and I guess it's early, depending on when you watch this video, though. This is early morning for me. So get some coffee, get something to help you get your juices flowing as well, or just find a place to be relaxed and listen in for this little bit of time that we'll be chatting today. So I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but I do want to try and cover some of these points that every single day, the bombardment of the algorithms, of the distractions, of the news and the lies. We're still given very excessive amounts of prana into it. Not me personally, but even just having to see it and recognize that this feed that they're giving you, your social feed, these algorithmic feeds, I already understand that this type of shit that I'm putting out is probably going to get pushed down unless somehow wonderful people who support, who have started already, they're able to share it. But this is hard to do. I mean, I could share stuff with people, but a lot of times it's like, nowadays, I don't know if they even care. I don't know if they want to learn. And, if you come across stuff like this, you probably have thought the same thing at some point in time with the people that are around you. That doesn't mean they're bad people at all. They're maybe people, usually good people, and maybe just confused because the distractions are designed strategically to psychologically ensnare you, trap you in paradigms of confusion. Meanwhile, the opposition and the controlled opposition are sit back at a table, clinking their glasses together, cheers, and because they're operating their plane just fine. You see, it takes both wings to fly. It takes both polarities to fly the plane, to control the mind, the plane, the planet, the plane of Earth, the material plane. Fly the plane. It's all in the words. Just start thinking about the words. So, Synchronous universe, unraveling and exploring infinite creative potential, connecting dots of consciousness with divine life force intelligence is what we're doing here. That is what we're focused on in this life experience. Not just in this YouTube little world channel, this little corner of the YouTube universe. This is within you, present at all times. The guide, God is the guide within you at all times. That's the devil and the angel. It's all the same. You're responsible. You are responsible for all of it. Remember, ability to respond. That is all that is. It's the ability to respond. Another divine faculty that we are given, the capability to render an interface in this life experience while we're housed in this physical apparatus, this vessel. Okay. We're going to jump to 9, and then we're going to read a little bit of chapter 1. Please utilize this material as a resource as much as necessary. I, the author, speak from the heart with a message of appreciation to the individuals who have continued to embrace their path of truth. Modern day is full of distractions, and we must help each other remember the divine powers that exist within. never alone, but rather all one of a much larger universal breath and pulse. So chapter 1, everybody get relaxed, take a deep breath. We're going to read a little bit, do an elaboration, and then we're going to get out of here for the day. So chapter 1, cracking the code, pattern break. In order to directly assess the process of understanding the codes of the universe, one must develop a healthy relationship with the internal eyesight of the expanding mind and faculties of consciousness within. That is, an intertwining relationship of the subconscious mind and spirit of the individual with all that is universal consciousness, God. Also, the student will develop further awareness of esoteric and occult principles of life, electricity and magnetism, or electromagnetic biocurrents interweaving human consciousness as this powerful androgynous cosmic intelligence. Modern day science might refer to the omnipresent forces and phenomena as quantum, the cosmic intelligence and divine life force. Prana, one, all that is. Symbolism, over the course of centuries, has embedded into the collective mind and subconscious of human beings. Symbols include shapes, symbols in Mother Nature, brand name logos, letters, sigils, molecular, crystalline structures, which is in all organic material, which is what all organic material is based. The constellations and celestial luminaries, living and non-living entities, flags, all art throughout history, egregores, which are the collective thought forms. Please refer to previous videos if you have, or you can reach out to me if you have questions. Archetypes and everything else the collective mind and imagination of man has unraveled in between. The repetition of these symbols form patterns, which hold particular frequencies unique to the symbol. Particular influence is thus transmitted to the individual subjected to the symbol. Repetition of these patterns strengthen a particular vibrational influence, potentially imbalancing, manipulating, disrupting, controlling, and even reprogramming the electromagnetic biofield of the individual. That's your thoughts and your actions, family. All right. Now, visualize in your well-being, your health, your wellness, your homeostasis, your equilibrium. Now, that's your ability to concentrate, okay? Your ability to manifest, all right? This is what we're speaking physically, mentally, and spiritually all at the same time. It's all interweaving. Now, visualize these interweaving and overlapping fractals of vibrational waveforms fluid in the universe. Now, I wanted to note here that visualization is going to be using your imagination, harnessing imagination and visualization, applying techniques via memorization, memory, or even like sensory memory, practicing and exercising inward sensory memories. This is all going to strengthen the magus, or the student of life. This is going to strengthen the will. This is going to strengthen the spirit. This is going to strengthen the overall awareness of the individual tenfold. I mean, I don't even know if I could say, I think it's boundless, okay? So part of this embrace is also going to be understanding the chaos, or that is what you might fear. So the dual principle in the nature of this isn't to master duality, and it's not to look at things as non-dual, or you do what thou wilt is rather the way that that might be said. There are universal forces that are playing out, that are giving you the ability to attune to the forces and creatively unravel and express your spirit, your soul and spirit, as it is housed here. So in this physical construct. So let me keep the train on the tracks. The reason that this is coming to my attention right now is because Every single day you're creating energy patterns. What you're watching and feeding and consuming are schematically based in geometries, different geometries, like even the pixels. If you're watching the television or whatever, these are patterns and shapes and repetitions over and over, symbols and over and over and over. So every day these are frequencies that are shaping your life experience and my life experience, individually and collectively. So the more that we feed our attention, which is, again, these are vacuous relationships. All right, when you're consuming something, it sounds like you're getting it, but you're actually feeding out. I mean, sure, you can look at everything as a two-way street, right? Here's the duality principle. My point is that you're vacuously allowing spirit, prana, life force energy into something else. You're feeding something else, okay? The intention here into all this material is for us to be able to feed spirit via ether, via life force energy, or breath. You can energize and electrify your body just by your breath, through your frequency of thought, because through breathing through your tech of breathing, your technology of breathing, your technique in the technology of breathing, you can develop a biochemical operating, communicating intelligence to refine itself, to heal itself, to reestablish itself, to repair itself. Okay? You have that divine ability. We were given this divine ability. What do I mean? When you accidentally, mark yourself, cut yourself, and you bleed, the response, the intelligent response that your physiological anatomical systems immediately go in when it's in an optimized state or a balanced state, is to heal and repair immediately. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, all of that's happening first on subtle fields, on etheric fields that are invisible to our naked eye. That's why studying the chakras has been so long important, because we can develop an actual emotional understanding and move our energy, our frequency, our prana, our breath. We can just through our body and focus it in areas specifically to heal our imbalance, to heal a cut. And what all this does too is a reminder, as we refine our life processes and our energy patterns, to go back into memory and have the ability to recollect something is divine technology. It's masterfully designed in the human body so that we can learn, live and learn, simply put. So again, back to the first sentence that I started the tangent. We are constantly incorporating visualization techniques. You can do this through meditation if you like. I would practice this all the time. You don't need to be in any trance. I mean, you don't need to be in a silence or a trance or any. You can do this now, right now, while you're awake, while you're aware, while you're ever present in your conscious. You can be just as tuned into the subconscious. Now, the more that you want to traverse and go into the astral fields, these are levels of development and require technique and your own practice and exercises in your journey. Not everybody's going to align with that, and not everybody's going to. This is the unraveling of our unique coding and expression that's within us, within the spirit, in a perpetual self-contemplation. I keep repeating that. Why? Because the universe is in fluidity, just like your spirit. It is one and the same in its essence, in its boundless potential. And I've seen, and I'll briefly state this, of debates on free will, over time, and free choice or free will, and I'll share my 2 cents briefly We'll keep moving. Free. There is no free will. I don't look at will not as free or it costs anything. Willpower is a divine tech. I look at will as a power. It's a frequency. It's a source of power. It's a reservoir inside of you. Again, part of our divine technology when we are properly attuned. We can unravel willpower, which is boundless. It this the free choice so there is not, in my regards, a free will. There is not even, it's a power. It's an energetics, the bioenergetics, the technology that is accessible and can be potentiated at will, if you will, of the individual. Free choice is like I can choose between buying this chicken over here, or maybe I want to have some chickens on the farm. Free choice. Buy this bottle of water or that bottle of water. It's really that's also really an illusion. But that's, again, it can be looked at in different perspectives and understood in both. So, visualization, imagination, divine technologies, family. This is all stuff that I'm just noting as we go. All right. I do incorporate. The purpose of these videos is to incorporate elaboration into the material, in the context, and also please, anybody, share your insights as we go. Now, the frequencies of particular states of data or information, note the word information. So we're talking about geometries, maybe patterns, energy patterns, right? Frequencies that are in a particular formation. So when you listen to music or you listen to mainstream anything, or you can see actors that have filled their vessel with a programmed script. That's why really good actors that can take on any role, they can be empty. So they've allowed themselves to be programmable vessels and can take on and shapeshift into any character. So the sadness of this scripted reality is that there's no authenticity, and these characters often never find anything authentic in this experience in the physical vessel, and they also get recycled. As you can see, their families become incarnated again and again in these ideals that are shifting and programming subcultures and subcultures across the globe, being ran by them. What did I say? They. Everybody says those people. They. There are groups of people, just like there's groups of entities of government associations that you and I won't even know. And then there'll be many that have been discovered or unraveled over time. People have gone into looking into what's really happening at the core. Who's running this? Who's playing the ventriloquist, right? With these puppet strings on these actors. Oh, I mean presidents. Oh, I mean puppets. Oh, I mean appointed politicians. Like, what are we watching? Okay? So that is the magic that they've embedded. And people, to this day, you have to acknowledge that this world stage, is being scripted so that your reality can be controlled. And someone will say, oh, this isn't controlling. It's not, that's not for me to prove to you. I'm trying to give you the note of the observer that it is two wings to the same plane. And they are putting you in a paradigm of confusion to keep you trapped and ensnared in their plane, so you can't fly your own. Okay? You can't think for yourself. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Just reach out to me with any questions again. So these information states of frequency, intelligently arranging, rearranging, organizing, and disorganizing themselves. In the lower vibratory waveforms, these materials or elements collect into formation and inform the individual of what is observed with the two eyes we call physical reality. And we have clearly noted and made distinct references to the two eyes being the deceivers and the inner eye, the third eye, but really the first eye in terms of this material in regards to what we're studying here, is the most important to our well-being, maintaining homeostasis. Not saying that observation is not important with these two eyes, but we have been misdirected in thinking that what we're seeing and what they're telling you and what you're seeing is real, and it's not at all. That's not the case. It's not real at all. This is scripted shows that you're listening and watching to, and feeding the deception into what we form into this very loose belief system. These weak foundations. I'm not blaming you for that. This is in the design. It's embedded in the design. They make this way so that you don't have if you revert back to this as belief systems, it's a crumbling foundation. It will always be. All right. The thought frequency fields across multi-dimensional consciousness, that is, our etheric fields, the subtle bodies, layers, consists of polarization parameters where frequencies of harmonized thought waveforms collect. Together, these harmonized thought frequencies form belief systems which have contributed to shaping culture and human consciousness for thousands of years. Many of these belief systems have also remained alive long after the originators or first developers manifested the waveforms, the thoughts to beliefs, to an entity or collective thought form in the astral plane called an egregore. Okay. What you will note is that if you have listened to Peaks and Valleys, some of this is briefly noted in Peaks and Valleys. Now we're going to extrapolate. We're going to go in depth with this stuff a little bit more. There is a book that is written all about egregores. It might be called Egregores. I can get the name of the book for you. If you want deeper understandings of any of this, I will give you other literature and other research. I'm not just promoting mine. I'm just giving. I know I can share this stuff in an original format, and nobody can come at me and say, "Oh, this came from me." So this is why I'm sharing this. But I'm more than happy to share anything on the bookshelf, anything that you have a specific interest in. Holler at me. Just reach out to me. That's all you got to do, and I will do my best to honorably, share some suggestion. Not to change your mind. None of this is to change your mind. I'm trying to empower the individual here and in your heart. But naturally, that's you. You got that. You are a loving being. So here we go. This refer to this as much as necessary, as I aforementioned. I'm going to read this one more time. The thought frequency fields across multidimensional consciousness, etheric fields, subtle bodies, layers consists of polarization parameters where frequencies of harmonized thought waveforms collect. Together, these thought frequencies form belief systems with which have contributed to shaping culture and human consciousness for thousands of years. Many of these belief systems have also remained alive long after the originators or first developers manifested the waveforms, the thoughts to beliefs, to an entity or collective thought form in the astral plane called an egregore. And even in the astral, you can see that they manifest themselves in the physical plane, in the material plane. Okay, so they become real in all emanations. But you see how the emanations project themselves from the top down now, and this is the importance of understanding thought frequency and the power of your thought frequency, how to have complete agency, instantaneous access to this divine establishment of faculties that are perpetually flowing through you, and how to honorably harness and empower others in the process of unraveling your own. Please go back as much as you would like to just check any of this out, jot down whatever notes. I usually say get your papyrus and your pen at the beginning, so now I'm saying better late than never. Get your papyrus, your pen. Multidimensionally speaking, the white or light magic alchemist operates with God and from an inner state of awareness, the divine life force intelligence, I, Christ consciousness, pure intuition, love, and direct commune with the life spirit, which is, in parentheses, the creative process of the individual. Okay, now you see here, you are unraveling your creative essence from within. This is a perpetual effort that the creator, the architect has designed within you. Protect it at all costs. Protect your prana. All right, we talk about that in Peaks and Valleys and in this too. All right, now let us take a brief moment to recognize this observation. In the matrix that we operate in today, this is the topographical man-made layer. When I say the matrix, I'm not talking about the original Gaia, Mother Earth. Matrix that we operate in today, humans commit both good and evil actions. These thought forms exist on opposite ends of the spectrum, are also equal to each other. They originate from the same source of fluid, potentia, omnipresence, as all is God. And you don't have to use that word. God is acronym generator, operator, destroyer. If you look up etymologically, it's not going to be what they're using it for today. The flow of all potentia, good and evil, is coming source from. That's why it exists as one. That's why it takes two wings to fly the plane. That's why polarity parameters are designed in the physical construct in the first place, not to balance people, is to develop divergence and extremities of thought, so that let me give you a psychological example just for some extra. Okay? The algorithm. If you make an account on YouTube, and this is just in general, but Facebook, any social medias, they love to pump very polarizing, extreme videos. Like anybody doing anything to the extreme, like pooping, even, I won't use that, sounds weird, but I'm just joking. Like they will freaking take anybody doing anything to the extreme and then algorithmically, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million views on trash content. Okay? These people design algorithm through algorithm. Okay? Their feedback loop systems are closed, and they have been. They can feed themselves. This is like saying the BlackRock were using AI to run their P&L strategies, or their trading strategies. There is no difference. The more that we become dependent on these sources, the worse off as humanity we're going to be. Period. But I don't need to argue that. This is inherent. It's built into the design of what we're getting, what we're seeing now. I don't have to debate that. Unless you'd like, you have something. Share your insights, please. Please. again, everything has its duality, right? I hope that if anything we note that here is what I'm saying is that nothing is good or bad. If I believe that something's good and my neighbor believes that the same thing is bad, we're both in our own state of belief correct, right? So and you could also decide to argue about that until you pass through here. You'll be long gone before that debate finishes, in the physical. Y'all's damn spirits will be in ghost. Y'all's apparitions will be debating this shit long after you're gone. So just there is always going to be both, but you have to balance that out internally in your own field of chaos. You bring order. They're going to perpetuate you in loops of ensnarement. They're training loops of ensnarement. The same way we're training AI models to keep humanity in loops of ensnarement in the progressive future, which is just technocratic establishment controlling masses of people. All right. Well, it's not all bad. Not all bad. Right. That's the point of what I'm saying. It's good and it's everything. Stop getting polarized. If imagine like this, you're a plane. You got a wing here. Hold on. You got a wing here and a wing here. You are extremely sighted. What happens? Now what? What's your plane doing? What's your plane doing? Spiraling down. Okay. As soon as do you see the physics? Hopefully, in what I'm sharing, I'm simplifying this to a point to understand that the ability to respond is within. Stop acting like you have to pick sides. That is the design of the polarity construct. That's the divergence tactic embedded into the mainstream. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Holler at me if it doesn't. Lower vibrational waveforms give the ego impressions, stimulus, and emotional energy, which is energy in motion, or just your actions. Stimulus and emotional change. The change is more specifically a series of impressions, vibrational waveforms influencing the human to experience frequency alterations in their electromagnetic frequency field. In the collective consciousness, impressions of the mind directly reflect the entire body, the electromagnetic biofield of the individual. This can cause individuals to act irrationally in a multiple of harmful and unhealthy expressions, emotions, surging, potentially influencing the discordance between cells in the body. Other forms of these expressions, of which are almost invisible to the naked eye or involuntary, however poisonous to thoughts. So this is just again going into detail about the subconscious influence that we have on each other we don't even understand the influence that we have on how deeply of a subconscious subliminal influence we have on one another, let alone the conscious part of it. And being able to honorably, creatively express our emotions and get and develop our own feedback loops in our own magical universes. You become an extremely potent source for potential. Your reservoir of prana is electrified as your thought frequency is embedded itself into its own feedback loop of gratitude, expansion and contraction. You give out, and you get back. But if you keep giving out to the people that are feeding you chemicals, poison, toxic pollution, and contaminated, what you're getting back. Like, you have to refine even just to question yourself, who do you listen to? Because you've allowed feedback loops to now internalize, subconsciously embed themselves. We're talking about the possession of parasitic influence in down to a cellular level, which is again goes back to that understanding that each of your cells in your body is intelligently communicating with its inherently in itself and with everything around it simultaneously. And this imbalance can be triggered by any discordance that, whether it be an intentional discordance or not, our awareness of it is what's going to bring us to refine our emotional energy, our energy and motion, our actions, and our frequency of thought to a place of homeostasis and well-being, opposed to feeding our prana into the same feedback loops that are giving us back ailments and dis-ease and anger and hatred and violence and, you know, I think that I'm not saying that the bad shit that happens in life is not important to know, okay? But once you know that this is going on, to be repetitively ingrained, then you should have a red flag. You should have raised a red flag, but they have embedded entertainment into this matrix so well, so deceptively. They're creating these paradigms of love and hate. They create the paradigms of black and white, create the paradigms of confusion of red versus blue. And they completely keep people as a collective at a docile and conformed state. And people feel like they have to abide to this spiritual enforcement. And again, this is all trapping. So hopefully this resonates a bit. I think I'm getting ready to, wrap up this video here. I just peeped where we're getting in close to an hour. I don't want to stretch these videos too long. If people ask for long videos, long form, I gotcha. Just ask. We exist in a matrix, an environment ever-changing and impermanent, fluid and seeking balance of its dual consciousness of chaos and order, or equilibrium. A lot of what is chaos of chaotic is invisible to the naked eye. Even the atmospheric conditions seeking balance, generating powerful efforts to achieve balance of pressurization. One may observe as it gathers in a godly force, note Vedas, Vayu, and Shu in Egyptian mythology, powerful enough to sweep ships under swallowing ocean tides, waters below, and wipe out topographical layers of modern-day infrastructure. Mother Nature and you too, astro traveler, are intertwined, intrinsically one. What did I leave off? Intrinsically one and perpetually in expansion with the cosmos. The intelligence that permeates everything is the source, divine life essence. In the daily life experience, every individual is unraveling their specific coding that is unique to their life spirit, or as mentioned earlier, electromagnetic biophysical field, and in parentheses, vibrationary resonance and frequency flow. This happens primarily internally, although it does directly reflect itself to the external world of the individual as a natural response in physical reality, in the life experience and universal constructs of Mother Earth and the firmament of God. All that is and will be. All right. You are infinite potential. All that is and will be. Universe. One song, one word, as it has been written into creation, this creation field, by the Creator, the great architect. I really do encourage anybody who has been participating in these presentations to continue working, um, continue refining, and making sure to have fun with this process. Some of this stuff might sound intense, but that's because it is. And if you've listened to any of the master teachers, been privileged to come across them, there's every single one of them has an intensity about them. So I'm not like here apologizing. I'm just letting you know that I'm not trying to BS you or add some flair. I just care enough to present this to anybody that gathers the essence within to unravel this code themselves. Again, the ability to respond. I would say this isn't for the majority. I'm aware of that in my own day-to-day observation. However, I do think that the more we remember the divine powers that are within all of us, it will become a majority effort. It will become a collective effort that expands past the 5%, the 10%, and it'll become 25% of people in the world, of the globe, that care to unravel their actual divine essence, not materialize their life, get addicted to this realm, the obsessions of this realm, and have to come back over and over and over because there was no spiritual practice. And where are the spiritual where are the teachers? See, it's the teaching is within you, but we have to be reminding each other constantly of our divine technology, our divine capabilities within, our divine essence that's flowing through us. Otherwise, it seems to me that people out in the street or people in public, at best you'll get a decent treatment because that's basically, people treat you with enough respect, but the attitudes, the piss poor mentalities of, oh, we have to do this, and oh, we're stuck in this, and I'm a pretty I've been a pretty solitary guy as of recently, but I used to be a socialite and I used to talk to everybody, and I still do, but I'm just not out as much. I'm working a lot in books and research and writing. I'm in nature a lot. A lot of people, there are groups specifically that I know, enjoy nature stuff. Being in nature, learning with nature. But yeah, just in my recent, everybody being busy, trying to make up for this inflation and pay their bills, and just overall just living life and dealing with the everyday chaos in our construct that's been created by man. There's a lot going on, so I get it, and I don't, as of right now, I'm in an opportune time to share what I can and express as much as I can. So I will. These books, these publications, these workbooks, I'll call them, are available for you guys if you're interested on Amazon. The comment section will have the links below. You can reach out to me directly if you would like one of these workbooks. I'll send one to you. Maybe pay a few bucks, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm in Georgia, so if you are in a relative location, we can, meet up sometime. If you'd like to link up. I love to connect with people that are like-minded or also interested in sharing the awareness. Or you just want to go out and go on a hike or go backpacking or go do some learning in nature. I am designating time in my life to do that as well. So just holler at me if you're around. I don't have any socials, and I don't really plan to make any. I may in the future, specifically for this books or the series of books. Yeah, I have a music page on YouTube and music on all streaming platforms. Just type in Joe Salvador Collection, and I have over 90 tracks available for everybody to enjoy. You can utilize those in your own production. If you're a creator of content yourself, feel free. I would love for that, love to see that in action. People have taken instrumentals of mine and made a whole new universe with it, which blew my mind. Turned it up to the max. It was here and they brought it up, you know. So we're here to help each other. We're here to collab with each other. We're here to share love, but also bring some gnosis to each other. Like, we have to be going within to develop our own agency. Stop reverting to our ego, because that is the easiest program to fall into without any deeper gnosis, deeper thought, critically thinking, going within, introspective awareness. And again, there's nothing wrong, like, if you do or don't do these things. You're not a better or worse person. Okay, promise. I'm sharing this for people who have concerns with the energies that they feel within them, and they're trying to maybe you're trying to figure out what the heck are these frequencies? What is this? Sometimes it comes up as anxiety, but all that anxiety is energy. It's actually prana. It's life force that's being pent up. It's being built up within you, and it needs flow. It needs to flow. The same way a blockage may be created through tension, and you might, like, let me put it like this: even with a technique, if you're if you have a laborious job, you don't even need that. If I'm sitting in my chair right now and my sitting technique is poor, my posture is poor, that can have an overall dis-ease of my frequency of thought. I'll be feeling more lazy than if I were to sit relaxed, straight up, making sure that my posture is, I'm making the conscious effort to assume a healthy posture. Just that in itself will etherically, spiritually allow the thought frequency to flow with more clarity and more vitality. All right? So sometimes it's not about as a matter of fact, it's not about overcomplicating anything. And I hope that this words aren't, the way that I wrote this is to empower you. It's not to confuse anybody. Okay? So please reach out if something doesn't make sense. Please do. I'm not going to get offended if you disagree. I'm not going to get offended if you hate what I'm writing. It would, honestly, at this point, I just see people as weirdos that's out here trying to knock people off for sharing light. Yeah, you're a op. Yeah, get the up out of here. You shouldn't even be up in here in the first place. There's places for you. I don't know why you're here. But I know how the ops work now. But yeah, and continue, stay vigilant is part of the point too. All right. I think we are at look at that. We've passed an hour today. New PR. That's all right. Hopefully you guys have resonated with some of this and taken some notes down, or if anything, it's given you some some sparks to go off inside, and you can take that spark of thought with you, carry it with you today, tomorrow, expand on it. Constantly unraveling your magical universe. So yeah, and I'm rooting for you on every step of the journey. And I'm not here to change your mind, and I'm not here to control it. This is the opposite of all that. And hopefully you get that. I'm just reminding you of the power that's within you is boundless. But we have to respect that shit. We don't be demanding and disrespectful and hateful. And that's, I've only been humbled through spiritual gnosis of that. And sharing that through my own light of experience that it's already within you. So if you're chasing this stuff, it's not, that's never ending. That is your Billy Carson intellectual babble goopy, bubble boopy, babaggle boopy boop. That's what Billy Carson and Neil deGrasse Tyson, that's what they sound like to me. Bagaboogie bookaboo. Bobby bobble boop 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 boop. You see? Because these are the grifters and the shills that are constantly trying to keep you in new paradigms of confusion. You already got the source within you. You've had it the entire time. You're allowing the source to leak out of you in multiple ways. And you have to have a respectful relationship with your anatomy, with who you are. Yeah, the apparatus, the physical vessel is just the meat suit, but it is the meat suit that you're housed in. So are you gonna just keep eating poisonous shit and disrespecting it? I mean, if that's where you want to do, then do it. I'm just saying, we are designed much more divine than how we commonly treat and speak to each other. Even to the levels of self-respect and self-accountability. In order to unravel what is divine, we have to hold ourselves accountable and responsible. It almost makes things harder when you try to fight. Letting go, getting rid of things that aren't actually serving a purpose for the time. Absolutely, there are times when you're going to do shit that you shouldn't do, but you say you're going through it, and you're going to. That's the difference. You're getting through it. You're going through it. That means that you're moving forward, okay, rather than stagnating and looping yourself in it. And this awareness, once you develop the internal awareness, you won't mistake it. So you will know when you have the fork in the road, you need to step back and look at the sign. The sign is going to be clear for you. The sign isn't going to be written by somebody else. You would have been the one to put the signpost in the ground in the first place when you get to the fork, because you already have been there in your mind. You've already been there. You've already put the post in the ground. You already know what your two choices are, and you already know that you don't have to choose either. You can take the signpost out, look straight ahead, and before you start your walking, before you start your physical action, your emotion, okay, before you express your emotion, thoughtfully present that frequency into manifest, into creation. Okay? Now develop an awareness with doing that every day. Moment. Develop an agency to be able to not, to let me put it this way, to find a balance point to where your inflow and outflow, you have an agency of your inflow and outflow, but not only that, but it's like you're the observer at the check-in desk as things are going in and out constantly, perpetually. You're at that check-in desk no matter how many times you have to, you're constantly expanding, right? This is the moving forward part of that. But your expansion, because of your awareness, you're taking a course of agency to expand simultaneously. Okay? So hopefully that resonates. I think I'm going to sort of wrap everything up for today. I think that's plenty of food for thought. And again, I really appreciate and I'm grateful for all of you. Thanks for being part of this channel, I guess I'll call it, and sharing your insights. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. My throat is dry. All right, I could keep going, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up for today. So thank you everybody again. I'm extremely grateful for all of you being here, and I hope that this information does resonate. And again, reach out with any questions, comments, or concerns. Replay this as much as necessary, and yeah, I'm rooting for you every step of the way. Yeah, let this be utility for you, and you harness it at your will. And yeah, let's get out of here for today, everybody. It is Wednesday here in Georgia, so wherever you are, wherever you may be, please have a great rest of your week, and please take care in all your endeavors. I will definitely see you in a future video. Please take care. Much love.